I'll tell you what I think.
Star Wars Celebration is headed to Chicago in 2019.
What?
Andrew will not be going to Star Wars Celebration 2019 because the reason we are doing this video is not to discuss April 11th to 15th, 2019 in Chicago, the McMara Convention Hall. I don't know what it's called. You have to look at it. But it's because, Andrew, we have decided to let you go. We realized it has come to a point when you will never become canon, and we've decided to just poo-poo you away, and we are going to replace you with this microphone that I'm not using. It would sound so much better if I was using it, but we were going to replace you because
it is much better looking than me.
It is.
I completely understand.
It actually, and no offense, it's much thinner than you. And we find that thin cells, if you look at myself and Brock, we are both very, very straight. Now, let's just get into this video. People are like, you are not fired yet. We might wait until. So anyway, you texted me earlier today. So tell me about you finding out about Star Wars Celebration 2019.
I was just on the YouTube, and I was checking to see how many views my last video got on my other channel.
What's the other channel called?
It's called Andrew Fantasia, James, and it's a very nice channel, and you should go there sometime, and it's sexy, and it's cool, and there's lots of me and other things, but mostly me. And I was just going there to check on some views, and I saw, in the recommended videos, there was a thing, and I didn't even know what video it was at first, but it just said, the next Star Wars Celebration has been announced, and I was like, what? And I clicked on it, and it was the Star Wars show, and I learned from Andy and the other guy whose name always escapes me,
Anthony Carboni.
Anthony Carboni,
who was, if you remember, not to cut you off, but if you remember Star Wars Celebration 2017, last year, it was 2017, he was the first person we saw. Aside from Pablo Hidalgo and a crowd of people in a 3-hour line, he was the first person we saw in the actual stage room. Do you remember that?
I don't remember seeing him in that stage room.
No, it was so. Just to go back, not that this is a big interesting story or anything, but we actually it leads into something cool. Was Brock and Rob were like, we gotta go to Funko, and I was like, and I didn't know you. I was like, Aaron, I'm going to the Star Wars stage. And you came, and he was there, and we're like, oh, let's look at a live taping of the Star Wars show. This will be fun to see them put this together. And then he called out George Lucas and Harrison Ford and Kathleen Kennedy. And we were like, we were 3 hours late. It took us 3 hours to get in. The morning sucked, but it was well worth it after that. Anyway, sorry, go on.
I know, and that was it. And then I clicked, and Anthony and Andy told me all the news that wasn't
just you.
The print. Yeah, just me. They were like, listen, Andrew, we know you've been asking. You've been sending the mail. Here you go. Here's your answer. And it is in Chi-Town itself. And I like that. You know why I like it? It's because it's close to us. Closer to us.
Well, not that much closer.
Like this much on a map.
What? I looked at plane tickets for us already. It is not going to be too expensive together. We could even drive there if we wanted to. It's not that far to drive, so we could drive. We won't, because I will not be stuck in a car with you for any longer than I have to be, which is...
That will be the longest Hamilton marathon ever. You will have a great time.
I'll give you my beats again, so you don't have to hear that guy behind us bitching about how he only had like 20 of the 40th anniversary X-Wing Luke Skywalker Black Series. God, I hated that guy. You lucked out. So I regretted every second of giving you those beats. I couldn't take it anymore. That guy. But we plan on attending Star Wars Celebration 2019 in Chicago at the McCormick Place is what it is called.
Is that named after the character from Footloose? Because he was from Chicago and his name was Ren McCormick.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments below.
It's the greatest movie ever made, according to Chris Pratt, so it might be.
Oddly enough, I have never seen Footloose.
I was in Footloose. Not the movie, a play.
The remake, the real Footloose. That's what I could say. I just saw Dirty Dancing for the first time, I think, last year or 2 years ago. So, yeah, I haven't seen Footloose. Aaron hasn't made me watch it yet, so but I have seen Hot Rod, where he footloose dances his way Hot Rod's the greatest movie ever made, aside from Star Wars, obviously. So we plan on attending. We're going to do a meet and greet. The plan is to do a meet and greet with the Den of Nerds. We're going to do a combined, so we can all have fun and get hammered one night of celebration. But let's talk about celebration as a celebration. What were some things that you learned from your first celebration? It was my first as well. These things are getting bigger and bigger, and we're culprits ourselves because we haven't been there from the start, but we went to the one in Florida. What were some learning lessons that you had at Star Wars Celebration last year?
The number one thing I learned was that there are a lot more people willing to get up at 3 a.m. to stand in a line than I thought.
They were there the night. They were there the night before. I'll say this: when we first, you weren't there yet. It was me, Aaron, and Brock, and we walked into the convention center because Aaron had my pass mailed to. No, we had our passes mailed to us, but Brock had to pick everything up, and I had a T-shirt that I had to pick up. So we went 2 days before. You weren't there yet, so we went 2 days before to pick it up, and this lady walked in, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I've been coming to I think she's been to most of them since 2002 or something like that." And she's like, "Remember this. Don't worry about the panels. Everybody wants to go to the panels. Don't worry about it. There's so much stuff around it. Don't worry about the panels." So immediately, we all decided to worry about the panels. And that was it's got to be a panel. It's got to be a panel. We got to get to the panel. And when you had that mindset, the first day, and I talked to my friend Sheldon Norton, who I think he'd been to a few. He directed a documentary, When the Galaxy Listens. It's on YouTube. Check it out. It's about Rebel Force Radio. And I was like, "Hey, are you in line?" He goes, "No, I'm going to stay home and watch the first panel on my computer and then go at 1 in the afternoon." And I was like, what an idiot. And so we went an hour before doors open, and we were stuck in a 3-hour line. And immediately my head went to that lady, "Don't worry about the panels." But I still at that point was worried about the panel because it was the 40th anniversary panel. Then the next day was the Last Jedi panel. Then the Rebels panel. I was like, "Got to do the panels." And after it all wrapped up, the Last Jedi one, we kind of conceded that day, the day before. We conceded we weren't going to get into the panel, but we wanted to see it because we knew the trailer was coming, right? So that's one thing that I'm going to take away and go into the next one with is not to worry about the panels, because the last day, the Sunday, you weren't there. Brock, I was the only one that was going. I went alone. I went at 8 in the morning. Or 8 or 9 in the morning. It was early, but it was just before it opened. And I got in and I got my wristband for the closing ceremonies. And then Aaron was like, "Brock gave me his pass for the day. I'm going to come too." So they're not transferable. So Aaron had a pass for the day. And she came and met me there. And we did there was so much going on that we only saw because we're like, "Hey, let's just do this." And we just walked around. There were cool panels that were under the radar, and just so much awesome Star Wars stuff happening that is not at the forefront, that is not making headlines. And that's something that I think, in Chicago that I'm going to be more cognizant of is I'm not going to, if we get in for media, then we'll have a obligation to report those big things. But if we just go as fans again, and I don't have to worry about that stuff, I want to just go in and enjoy it. And it's those little things with the real diehard Star Wars fans. That was so much fun. We did the video. It's on the homepage of this YouTube channel with Aaron walking around Easter Sunday, interviewing people on the hall. And you just see those people weren't there for anything other than to be near Star Wars fans. Nothing else mattered. They wanted to experience Star Wars and just have fun and celebrate it. And I'm talking forever, but that's what I took away from it is the panels are great, but you can watch those on your computer. It's the little things that you don't see that is just so much fun. And if it's your first time going to a celebration coming up, I know that those panels are enticing and you're going to want to, and I'll probably fall for it the sooner we get there, but you can watch them online and you can go and have an experience. And just like happened once, you can see all those people that are in those panels on the show stage. Brock spent an entire day at the show stage and he saw everything. He got 1 million pins. So that's what I would say. That was for me. That's my biggest learning lesson: is don't worry about the popular stuff at all.
You're right. And that was my mindset too on that first day when we're standing in that line, and you can hear there's speakers playing, and they're transmitting what's going on in that Last Jedi panel, that big Last Jedi panel, and we're standing out there. We're like, I'm missing out. I wish I was in there. I wish I was, front row center. But at the end of the day, we saw what we wanted to see. We saw that trailer. We saw it at the same time as everybody else. We didn't see it later. And the stuff that was for me the most memorable about that whole weekend was the under the radar stuff that you found just by like flipping through books and stuff. Like for me, the two highlights were Warwick Davis with Darth Maul and David Collins talking about the Rogue One soundtrack. And those were not, I wasn't sitting on the plane being like, I can't wait to watch David Collins talk about the Rogue One soundtrack.
You weren't?
As soon as we're in that room, I'm like, damn, I'm glad I'm here instead of, standing in like a standing room only crowd watching Kelly Marie Tran talk about how bubbly she is. Like
I was really looking forward to that Darth Maul one. That was one that I wanted to say, but it wasn't like over the top. I just like, for me, and I said this to you guys too. I'm like, look, if I can get tickets from Maul, I'm going to get it. If you guys don't want to, don't worry about it. But that's what I want to do. And Warwick Davis was amazing in that one. It was fun. The music of Rogue One. I think that was one Erin picked up on because she's, the musician. She's like, we should do this one, and we did. Then the special effects of Rogue One was a little underwhelming because they were late, so it was really very rushed. But it was still like you got to hear Doug Chen and all that. They talk about it. It was like it was engaging, and those are things that And then there are there's so much going on, and it just the big stuff, like you said, the trailer and all that. Look. My guess is April 11th to the 15th, one of those days, it will be the episode 9 panel. We'll probably have a title before that, and then the first trailer or teaser or something will drop around that time. It seems like they'll just do exactly what they did for Last Jedi in that respect. I mean, I'm just guessing, but that the timeline all fits. I mean, it's exactly 2 years later. So if they do that, that's fine. And I would be totally cool if we went in and we just watched the trailer at the Star Wars stage again. And we didn't have a panic attack about waking up at 2 a.m. to get in. We still have to get on that stage. You still have to wake up at like 6 a.m. But the thing, we were at the Star Wars stage. We got there early. And there was still something awesome about that experience too. Mm-hmm. And that one didn't take away from anything. Whereas I think the first day, the 40th anniversary panel, which I don't know what they would have this time, we wasted half a day in line for that one. That is something that I will have to really, really think about next time is what do you do that? Because I think, though, with Chicago, I mean, I haven't been to the McCormick place or anything like that, but I'm guessing they know that there's going to be way too many people there. So they figured it as the weekend went on. They did kind of start to figure it out. Like Last Jedi, that was the day we went to an entrance, and then you and Rob, we shipped you guys off to wait in line, and you guys went to a different entrance than we expected. We had to like run down because they started opening different doors at different times. So I think they've learned a lot since then, and signage is a big thing that they need to work on because I had never been. I was just going to
ask you that. Do you think they bought signs this time?
No. I don't. I had never been to anything like that in my life, right? I've never been to a fan expo, a Comic-Con. That was my very first thing. And then I went to Fan Expo. We got media for Fan Expo, and I walked in. I was like, there are signs everywhere. I was shocked. I would hope so, to be honest. I mean, there were signs at Celebration, but they weren't directing you in any which way. It was kind of like the signage was in front of the room. It was like, in this room. You're like, well, okay, thanks. I could have used that somewhere else. So that
the signs didn't say you are here, but they said something arbitrary is there. Yeah, good luck finding out where you are.
I also hope they figure out the store as well, because I never got all my pins, which Derek Loffman, shout out, designed them all. I was really Rob went in to get it, and then I tried. You couldn't get into the store. It was a disaster. And then I go to Fan Expo, and they have like 17 stores, and they're easy to find. And you walk in, they all have the merch, and that was that. So whoa! Earthquake happened. Of that. So what do you expect to see at Star Wars Celebration 2019 aside from the Episode 9 trailer, and panel, which we know is obviously going to be a part of it?
Well, one thing that I've been hoping for, and maybe that celebration's a bit too early, but maybe it's the right time. Who knows? I'm not a marketing guy, so that's not my forte. But Imagine that panel like they had at the El Capitan Theater when Marvel showed off their Phase 3 lineup. Imagine that for like the next. Here's our next 5 films that Lucasfilm is doing. Look, that would be an electric reaction, especially if one by one they just start revealing like, oh, and what's this in the 2020 slot? Oh, it's blank. What's this in the 2021 slot? Oh, it's blank number 2. People would just lose their minds. I can't wait for that announcement period, but if I was in the room, I would probably pee everywhere. Don't sit next to me.
I sat next to you for the Battlefront 2 panel. Did I sit next to you for the one where I got my Jar Jar pin and I went ballistic?
Yes.
That was my favorite moment of Celebration, was when I got my Jar Jar pin. And I just went nuts in this crowded theater of like Jar Jar haters. I was like, the best day ever. Because I wanted Jar Jar. I got Ezra first, and I was a little bit disappointed by that. I was like, oh, okay, well, Ezra's fine, but. And then Jar Jar, who I think was the most manufactured of all the pins, but I don't care. It was still a get for me, and I was really excited. But I also got the 3-pack of villains with Maul, whatever. But that was fun. For me, what I'm hoping is either I don't know where Game of Thrones saga was going to be, but I'm hoping maybe the Rian Johnson trilogy gets a title or gets some kind of announcement bigger than just he's writing it or directing one of them or 2 of them or 3 of them or this guy's directing it. I'd really like that. And also I think it would be, I don't know if it'd be too early because I don't know when it's premiering, but we're hearing 2019. Maybe the first episode of Favreau's show. Maybe, a Resistance, the Resistance show. And so it takes over for the Rebels on the Saturday. You got the Resistance. Maybe that first day is the future of, because it can't be a 40th anniversary, maybe it's the future of Star Wars, and we get the Favreau show, maybe a first look at it or a title. Or I think we'd have a title by then, though, because I'm pretty sure they said it's coming out in 2019. So, you get the Favreau show, you get Resistance on the Saturday, and then maybe on the Friday it's Favreau and Rian Johnson on the Friday. And then on the Sunday, I liked what they did on the Sunday where they just kind of closed it. There wasn't a big announcement. They didn't bring anybody out. They didn't really bring anybody out. They just had all the main stages. They had people, and they were like, let's just enjoy, like look back and enjoy what we had those last few days. And that is, I kind of thought that was fine because everybody was like, Obi-Wan's going to come out. They're going to announce Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. That's happening. And none of that happened, but it was just a giant celebration. And I will say everyone stunk. There was some body odor going on in that room that I will never forget. You weren't there. This is the one time you can't be blamed. But there was some body odor. I remember Aaron was like, because they were like, everybody get up and dance. And I was like, this is the worst idea. Because people in this room haven't slept for days or washed in days. So that's what I'm hoping, though. The first day, maybe go boom, boom. Second day is your episode 9 day if they follow the other one. And then the third day, Resistance. And the fourth day is just have fun and enjoy Star Wars.
I love that idea of, like how you said they had last time it was the 40th anniversary, but this time it'll be the future of Star Wars. I think that's beautiful because it falls in that perfect spot. Literally, by the time that celebration comes around, we'll be 8 months out from a movie, and then after that, we have no idea what's next. Literally no idea. So what a perfect place to put it, unless they're saving it for D23. But this is, it's the wars, so put it there. Why not?
I think if the Favreau show, which I'm pretty sure I read was 2019, you got to give us something special for the people there. But again, I don't think I'm going to rush to try to get into any of those rooms, into those panels. There were some other panels that would have been cool to get to that we missed out on because we tried to get into the main ones. That being said, back to the organization of Celebration itself. They need to figure out a way where I don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. to get a ticket to see Ian McDermott talk about playing Palpatine. Because the way it worked was, it was crazy. People slept over and they got the tickets for the big one. But then for us to get in, we had to wait behind that. Yeah, look, I'm old and I'm not going to sleep on a floor.
Like,
But
look at Josh. Josh made himself sick doing that. He gave himself like a flu. So like that's not that's not conducive to a healthy atmosphere, regardless.
And he's healthy and in shape. Imagine if I did that. I would be dead. There's like 5 people watching right now. Yeah, I wish you were. I wish you were. I'm sorry. Okay, let's wrap this up. You looking forward to Chicago, some deep dish pizza from Giordano's, or you wish that it was in Orlando or Anaheim where you can go to Disneyland or Disney World?
Oh no, bring on the pizza. I've always wanted to see that place.
We're talking about being healthy and we're like, give us the deep dish now.
I know what I'm eating at 6 a.m. when I'm staying on.
Well, you got Papa John's last time. This time it'll be like be like a
more
cake.
Like cardboard John's. One thing that I hope comes back is those damn beautiful passes. Those hand illustrated, color coded, and every day was a different character. Those were so sexy. I hope they do something like that again, because that was. I still have them. I know you still have yours. Like, they are treasures. Those things.
Yeah, and I got the T-shirt with that. I wish that's one thing. I wish I got into the store to buy that poster, because I would have definitely got that poster. And apparently, I can't remember his name. The artist. Oh, it's escaping me right now. He was there. He was behind the stage the whole time, and if you went up to him, apparently he was nice enough to just autograph it if you want to talk to you. I had no idea he was there. I found out like a week later he was there. The one thing I will say for all first timers going there, don't use your credit card. A lot of people had had some theft going on when they used their credit card there. So there was like a whole Facebook forum group that was talking about it. So yeah, look, it's cool and it's convenient. They all have like the little cube thing to spend, and it's quick. But try not to use it if you don't have to, because there was a lot of theft going on over at Star Wars Celebration Orlando, and I can't see that changing, because if it's that easy, somebody will figure out a way to do it. That's how it is. But I can't wait. I've never been to Chicago. You've never been to Chicago. Brock is in love with Chicago. Aaron loves Chicago. Aaron was just there, I think, 2 years ago. For a bachelorette party. She can't wait. She always like, we have to go to Chicago. So guess what, Aaron? We're going to Chicago to see some Star Wars. Bet you never.
I just hope that at that point, they'll have at least cleaned it up after what happened to it in Rampage, because that was some mess.
Have not seen Rampage. All I know about Chicago is it's very windy. And they have
my microphone.
Yeah. It's so true. So tell everybody about your YouTube channel.
Well, you can find me on that channel and on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram now. Andrew Fantasia. That's the name of them all. It's nice and simple. It's easy for me to remember. And you can see me talk about lots of things, lots of pop culture things, including lots of Star Wars as well. And here, when I'm considered canon.
And in 1 week's time, we will be sitting down to watch Solo, a Star Wars story, for the first time. I'm hoping not the last, but definitely the first. It got a standing ovation at Cannes, which is, it's the third Star Wars movie to be there. It was Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and now Solo. So it's kind of cool. Ron Howard, Uncle Ron, is back. Have you read I haven't read any of the reviews. I'm staying clean of this. I'm not even going online. So if you're commenting on this video, probably will not read it. Have you read the reviews for Solo?
I've read a few just non-spoiler ones. I actually talked about it today on Real Deal.
I know. That's
why. There's looks like there's a lot of divide again, but not as drastic.
I think I have opinions on some people's comments on it that I will not say here, but I think, I'm still going with hashtag third best Star Wars film. And everybody that knows when I say that, everyone knows that I think it's just going to be an enjoyable romp. It's not going to be the one that you're like, this is the best movie of all time. But it's not going to be, God, that ruined Star Wars. It's going to be just one that you're like, that was fun. What I'm really hoping from Solo, and before we leave, let me know what you think. But what I'm really hoping from Solo is that in 6 months, I'll be like, yeah, I just want to watch this. And you put kind of like right now, and I'll compare it to Indiana Jones, but like I'm like on Netflix, I'm like, I just want to watch Raiders. And I throw it. That's what I am hoping from this movie is like, I don't need it to connect everything. Just once in a while, I'll be like, yeah, I just feel like watching this. It's not like in a Star Wars mood, but just like in this adventure mood, and I'll throw that in.
Yeah, I agree. I want it to be that fun little like galaxy hop that's just in its own corner of the universe doing its own thing. From what I have heard, and I stayed away from every spoiler I could, but I've just heard a bunch of people say that fan service is more prevalent here than it has ever been.
Well, we got that with Tag and Bink in it. You'd think, look, and I told you this about Infinity War. I won't ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it still, but there is a character that is in that movie, serves a great purpose in that movie, but is 100% fan service in that movie. Like that character could have been anything, and they made it that character. And and if you know who the character is, you're like, that is awesome. And if you don't know, you're like, then it does not phase you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And hopefully Star Wars is learning that. Hopefully. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, may the force of others be windy. Mace Windu.
Willis.
Oh my God, yep. Mace Windu. Mace
I
Windy
said
City.
Willis instead of Waze because it's the Willis Tower.
And we just lost.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.